Welcome to the Future of India Gala, presented by Ekal Vidyalaya, featuring eminent speakers and entertainment by Pen Masala.
Good evening, namaskar, welcome. My name is Subrat Dravida and I'm a volunteer for Ekal USA. Ekal is at the dawn of a very exciting new era. Ramesh Shah, who is a founder and stalwart of Ekal USA, has been appointed President and CEO of Ekal Abhiyan, the Ekal umbrella organization in India. This is a matter of great pride and joy for all of us. Ramesh Bhai, as we fondly call him, has rendered exceptional service and made enormous contributions to Ekal over many, many years. Under his visionary leadership, Ekal will scale new heights. This also represents a recognition that Ekal USA has played an important role in expanding Ekal's goals and impact. These are challenging times. Just like the rest of the world, Ekal children, villagers, and volunteers have all been subjected to the cauldron of the pandemic. Ekal's mettle has been tested like never before. As you will hear later, Ekal has done an outstanding job of providing medical, material, and emotional relief and support, as well as hope and optimism for all our villagers. This is a testament to the character and generosity of our volunteers and donors. We thank you very much for all your support. Today I'm reminded of two of my favorite quotations that are very appropriate for this occasion and for these times. The first quotation is from Faulkner during his Nobel address at Stockholm. William Faulkner said, "I believe that man will not merely endure, he will prevail." Man is immortal not because he alone among creatures has an inexhaustible voice, but because he has a soul, a spirit that's capable of compassion and sacrifice and endurance. The second quotation is from Swami Vivekananda, who is an eternal inspiration to all of us in Ekal. Swami Vivekananda said, "Arise, awake, and rest not until you reach your goal." The combination of these two quotations summarize the future for Ekal. With compassion and sacrifice and endurance and very hard work, we will not rest until we reach the goal of uplifting all our villagers. With these two quotations serving as inspiration, we will now commence the spectacular 2021 National Gala. Once again, welcome and thank you.
Namaskar, Suswagatam, welcome. I am Ankita Shah, a volunteer from Chicago. It is a great pleasure to introduce the co-chair for tonight's Future of India Gala. He is an Ekalite. He is a successful business entrepreneur, and he is a board member from Ekal USA. Please join me in welcoming Shri Kamlesh Shah.
Swagatam. Hello and welcome to Ekal's 5th annual Future of India Virtual Gala. I am Kamlesh Shah, volunteer and chairperson for today's gala. I have honor and privilege to welcome you and our speakers, Dr. Renu Khator, Chancellor of University of Houston, Kiran Mazumdar, founder and chairperson of Biocon, and Niren Chaudhary, CEO of Panera Bread. Thanks to the strong support of volunteers and donors like you, Ekal has continued to bring a dramatic impact in the lives of over 100 million villagers living in over 100,000 rural remote villages. The foundation of Ekal is Vidyalaya, or a single teacher school that brings literacy to the children living in the rural villages. Building on that foundation, Ekal now has brought digital literacy, health services, and skill training to the villagers. During COVID, the volunteer network we have in the villages enabled us to provide enormous support to our villagers through mass distribution, telehealth lifeline, and most importantly by combating vaccine hesitancy in the villages. The depth and breadth of work at Ekal is truly remarkable, and all this is possible because of the generous support of the donors and volunteers like you. So, thank you. The gala tonight will be informative and entertaining, where the distinguished speakers will share their insights on the power of health, power of education, and most importantly, the power of giving. You will also hear from the villagers as to how the pandemic impacted them and how they have adapted to the new normal. The Ekal team will share their roadmap for the future. We top up the Future of India segment with a presentation by Ekal youth leaders who are indeed the future leaders of Ekal. Entertainment snippets are embedded in the program. At any time, you are welcome to pledge or donate by simply clicking the button below. If you are watching this program on YouTube, please go to ekal.org/gala2021 to make a pledge or a donation. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy as we kick off the program with the overview of Ekal activities.
This people's movement is about change of life. This is a revolution of education in rural India. This is the changing picture of rural India. This is Ekal Abhiyan. This innovation in education, which started in 1989, today is providing a helping hand to more than 3 million children in primary education in more than 100,000 villages across India. It is the result of the work of hundreds of thousands of dedicated volunteers all over the world that helped Ekal to protect over 300,000 villages during the corona pandemic. Even in the corona pandemic period, children in Ekal were given lessons for keeping physical distance and practiced physical exercises through sports and games to prevent illness. In the last 30 years, nearly 4 million children have developed their lives by getting the needed help from the support education provided by Ekal. Ekal Abhiyan not only made children literate through its one-teacher schools providing support education, but also implemented a variety of schemes for farmers, women and youth, and through Gramothan resource centers across India to empower rural India. Teaching farmers to make organic manure that led them to advanced agriculture. Today, these Gramothan resource centers have become the focal point of empowerment of rural India. By starting skill development programs like tailoring, training for rural women, and computer centers for youth.
सर, जब कोरोना काल का प्रोजेक्ट आया कोरोना का कोविड-19 नाम का, तब हमको यहाँ पे मास्क बनाने के लिए बुलाया। हमने लगभग 4-5 हज़ार तक मैंने मास्क बनाया। उससे मुझे 35,000 तक मिले, जीआरसी सेंटर की तरफ से मिले। मैंने इतना पैसा कभी नहीं देखा था जितना कि मुझे 5 महीने में कमाने मिले। मैंने सेंटर से पैसा लेके तुरंत एक जिगजैग मशीन खरीदी। मैंने घर पे खुद का ऑर्डर लेने लगी। उस मशीन के जरिए मैं 3,000 तक कमा लेती हूँ सर।
Ekal Abhiyan has revolutionized digital education in rural India. In hundreds of Ekal-supported schools in rural India, tablets were provided to children, making learning more interesting and cutting-edge for them. Access to computer training for the youth of rural India.
I have completed 3 months diploma course in Tinsukia GRC. Now I am employed in Gujan Development Block as a computer assistant. There I earn 6,000 to 7,000 per month Now I bear my own expenses.
Along with mobile computer training, vans and buses allowed the youth to dream big. Ekal on Wheels reached the homes in rural and tribal forest areas, making this a success. In the Corona era, volunteers of the Arogya wing of Ekal took the message of herbal preparation, decoction, for fighting the disease. Health volunteers distributed free decoction, kadha, masks and sanitizers in the villages to protect residents from corona. During the pandemic, volunteers educated the villagers about the Ayurvedic forest herbal medicines to prevent the disease.
Ekal Vidyalaya is not an NGO, but a people's movement. It aims to empower tribal and rural communities across the length and breadth of our country through a holistic 5-pronged education program. Functional education for an educated Bharat. Health education for a healthy Bharat. Development education for an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Empowerment education for a self-respecting Bharat. Sanskar and value education for an ethical Bharat. E-tablets and computer vans for a digital Bharat. Gramothan Center and skill centers for a skilled Bharat and women empowerment. I am a strong supporter of Ekal and I urge you to join me in making Bharat a world power. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Rural India is getting stronger. The chains of illiteracy are broken. The roots of social change have been strengthened. Come and join this mission of Ekal and experience the transformation and progress of rural India.
My name is Dr. Jawan Hartank. I'm Ekal volunteer from Tampa, Florida. As a physician, I am keenly aware of impact of COVID-19 globally. Thanks to scientific development that we were able to develop and vaccinate large number of people in such a short period of time, creating a huge impact. It's my immense pleasure to introduce next segment where our own board member Dr. Meena Subramaniam, who is Vice President and Global Leader at Takeda Oncology Division, will have fireside chat with Kiran Mazumdar Shah, who is scientist and entrepreneur and well-known global leader in pharmaceutical world.
Kiran, thank you for making the time to be at the Ekal Gala today to share your perspectives on Ekal Arogya and the future of telemedicine and other digital technologies in healthcare. So, Kiran, to start off, the COVID pandemic has disrupted life as we know it and has spurred innovation and changes in many industries, including the healthcare industry. There has been an unprecedented surge in telehealth and digital technology use across Western nations to facilitate access to healthcare services. So from your perspective, has there been a noticeable change in adoption of virtual care services post the COVID pandemic in India?
So first and foremost, thank you so much for inviting me to this fireside chat. And let me say that, I must congratulate you on this great initiative that you have all worked towards under the Ekal Arogya umbrella. And let me answer your question by saying that, obviously the COVID-19 pandemic would not have actually been able, we would have not handled this pandemic had it not been for a virtual world and the digital technologies that support it. For instance, that the digital world actually allowed us to work from home. So I think remote working has become a kind of a norm across sectors, across industry, and I think the medical world is no exception. I think today telemedicine actually has, been brought to a very different scale and level because of the pandemic. As you know, telemedicine has always been something that India was looking at as a scalable way of addressing many of the human resource deficits that we encounter today in terms of the doctor population ratio, the nursing population ratio, the hospital population ratio, the hospital bed population ratio, etc., etc. You know, and so I think that during the pandemic, we've seen a number of telemedicine models evolving to basically handle patients who were tested positive for COVID, for instance. You know, many telemedical consulting, kind of models were developed where, to begin with, anyone who tested positive actually was being tracked by the municipal, organizations at every state level, where they would actually call you up to make sure that you were quarantined and whether you had any symptoms and did you need hospitalization. So that was your starting point. And then, of course, they went on to managing patients who were at home, right? And patients could actually call up helplines if they were not very clear about their medical conditions. Now, when you look at rural, adoption of telemedicine, I don't have data to provide you in terms of how effectively this was used. But I know that we run a number of what we call as digital primary health clinics under our CSR program called Ilaj clinics. Mm-hmm. And we have about 25 of them operating very successfully in Karnataka and in the rural areas, very remote rural areas, I would add. And I know that these Ilaj clinics did manage to use telemedicine to reach out to many, parts of the population to basically give them information on COVID appropriate behavior, to give them information on, at a time when vaccines were available. I know that all our centers deployed vaccines. Mm-hmm. And so, and then, of course, we did use telemedicine in certain cases to basically manage patients remotely. So I know that it has been used, but not as extensively as in urban India, I would say. I guess Ekal would have a much better, set of data points to tell me about how effectively you used telemedicine. But from our point of view, I think this is a huge opportunity. And under Ayushman Bharat and Swasthya Bharat, we should use telemedicine in a big way, because that is the way to use telemedicine to make sure that every rural patient gets access to specialty, expertise in district hospitals or larger, metro hospitals. So that if there is a particular kind of need to prescribe a certain treatment for a certain type of disease, which in rural India would not be possible, then I think these are the kind of opportunities we have of not for such patients not to have to travel all the way into the cities or the district hospitals, but that they could receive those same treatments, medically supervised through these kind of telemedical consultations through the rural doctor in the primary healthcare clinic, who could actually then could be the conduit of information and between the patient and the specialist doctor. So that's the model we've already adopted in our Ilaj clinic model. So I just think that, we need to think it through. And I think Ekal needs to actually think about how it wants to leverage all this wonderful ecosystem that we have created.
Right. And, the ability to have electronic health records is really a great place to start, and also seems very well aligned with the vision for Prime Minister Modi's Ayushman Bharat digital mission, which I think is critical for the fungibility of different physicians being able to treat the same patients. So going back to your point about where Ekal wants to focus its Arogya mission, so virtual care can include concierge services, medication management advice, minor urgent care, chronic health management, or mental health services, as you pointed out. So where do you see the best opportunity for an organization like Ekal?
First and foremost, my advice to Ekal would be to first find out what do people want. Because very often we have a top-down approach and we sometimes just, don't deliver what the people want. I think this has to be a citizens' engagement. So I think you need to get citizens to inform you in terms of what their needs are, where their gaps are, what are their problems. I mean, I just think that we assume that, the poor people who live in rural parts of the country have a certain set of problems and a certain set of challenges, and we decide what we want to do with them. But I think we also need to hear their voices. I think we need to hear from them what they want. I'll tell you, for example, I'll give you an example. We have seen in our primary health centers, what we did was we would adopt a government PHC and we would basically refurbish it and just create clean toilets, for instance, and clean drinking water, and create a nice clean ambience within the PHCs with a nice clean working area. And the fact that there was a technology or a tech operator taking down with a computer sitting in that waiting room, and as you came in, they would basically just measure your, there's an instrument to measure your vitals. And then when you went in, the doctor basically asked you immediately questions, and they didn't have to again check you up, but they would say, okay, go and do these tests and come back to me in a week's time, or come back to me in 3 days' time. And until then, you take these tablets. I can tell you the footfalls went up from 20 a day to 200 a day.
Wow.
So just getting that confidence that they have access to a decent healthcare system itself is a big boon to such people. Now, whether they want the singing, dancing, everything as a medical service is something we need to find out. Is it an overkill, or are we catering to what they want? Tomorrow, if you start saying, no, I am going to make it like, every one of you has to have a annual checkup and you will have to go through this and that and the other, they might resist it. So I think you need to find out what is it that they're really looking for. Many of them told us that the reason they keep coming to this new PHC that was refurbished is because they said it now looks like a hospital. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that, they get more confidence now because, the doctor is also giving them more time, that, ye computer se hame aur asha milti hai. And also that, that we are getting some data given to us, because when the diagnostic data is given, we also give them a copy of that diagnostic data in their hands. And we also give them that electronic medical record, a copy of that in their hands. So now they suddenly feel that they've got some data which they never were given in the past. So you see, you need to understand what is it that these people really want, right? And we are also now holding camps, awareness camps, and we are asking them, is this useful? So if they find that it's useful, they'll keep coming back to every camp. But if they find that they don't understand anything, they won't come back. Mm-hmm. So I think you need to assess a lot of things that work in rural areas, which may not necessarily work in urban areas, and vice versa. So if we think, like for instance, we also have certain initiatives in urban PHCs. Mm-hmm. Now in urban PHCs, you might have a different kind of slant to your projects and programs. But when you go to rural settings, you have to tailor make it to rural settings. So I think we need to understand all these things.
Oh, these are very valid and good points for Ekal to consider. So, Arogya Sevikas are the touch points to the rural villagers. So, as an entrepreneur, how do you think we can provide appropriate training for these Arogya Sevikas and also sustain some entrepreneurial thinking in them when they deliver the services, healthcare services to the villagers?
So if I may say so, Arogya Sevikas are another version of Asha workers. Okay. And what I would say is that you need to basically train them with digital capabilities and competencies, because I think they have to be digitally savvy to use new technologies with which you can generate new data. So like I mentioned, we trained Asha workers basically to collect data on mobile phones when it came to mental health issues. So we gave them a simple questionnaire, of course, in the vernacular language, and we just said, just tick it yes or no, and that way you'll come to know what the mental health profile of a village is like. Like, do you have people who are being ostracized by society? Do you have people who have fallen out of the economic mainstream because of mental health issues? And then what we did was, the intervention we brought in a psychologist and a psychiatrist and a neurologist to that village once a week. And the people who are identified with those problems were actually made to kind of spend time with these people. I must tell you that I also serve on the trust of Deepika Padukone's Live, Love, Laugh Foundation, which is focused on, depression, anxiety, and stress. And we focused on these mental health issues in rural India. And we actually did a very nice pilot in Davangere and district. And actually we found that we could identify through these Asha workers, people who are suffering from mental illness. And by bringing these weekly kind of visits of neurologists and psychologists, we were able to medicate them and get them back into work. Many of them were out of work because they had these mental health problems, and we just medicated them and brought them back to the work. And the economic impact it has had in those villages is amazing, because these same people who couldn't earn an income are now earning a livelihood. So you see, these are the kind of transformational kind of changes you can make in rural India if you understand some of the things that are incapacitating people, whether it is mental illness, whether it is diabetes, whether it is hypertension, whether it is any kind of disease, you can actually address them in a very meaningful way and get them to be more economically productive.
So these are great insights, Kiranji. Truly appreciate you making the time. I'm also hoping that Ekal Arogya will be able to reach out to you in the near future to refine the plans that we are developing and to learn from your on-hand experience that you've had in launching the PHC centers. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mazumdar Shah, for your inspirational words. Now I have the honor to introduce a very special person to you this evening, who is the founding president of 2 software companies, lives in Long Island with his wife Kavita Bhavi, and is one of our biggest Ekal supporters. He has a special passion for digital Ekal, and in fact he has a passion for everything that Ekal is about. In addition, he has a very melodious singing voice, which you will realize soon. Friends, here is the chairperson of this evening's gala, Mr. Mohan Banchu.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. I would like to start by welcoming everyone to the Ekal Vidyalaya Future of India Virtual Gala 2021. Our hearts go out to all the families that have suffered loss of their loved ones in this battle against COVID. I remember my first visit to a Ekal village. The villagers greeted us with such warmth. The children had such bright eyes and were very articulate. They were very poor, but yet when we were about to leave, they gave us a handmade shawl as it was their tradition to honor the guests with a gift. Their poverty did not stop them from being a giver. Imagine my shock later when I found out that the previous night, the villagers were actually reeling from a tragedy when a lion near a jungle came and killed one of their children in that village. It showed me that the villagers did not let any challenge overcome them, and yet they received us with open arms. I resolved then and there to do my best to help them. The journey to transform remote rural villages in India is not an easy journey. The pandemic did make things even more difficult. Ekal has never stopped facing any challenge that comes in its way. We are so appreciative of the support from all of our donors, which has made us continue the work uninterrupted. The energy and enthusiasm of the Ekal volunteers is abundant, and the work is unstoppable. This song is a tribute to the indomitable spirit of our villages and our volunteers.
रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के आटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बाहर के रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के आटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बाहर के ओ राही 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 देख रुक गया है तेरे आगे झुक गया है सूरज देख रुक गया है तेरे आगे झुक गया है जब कभी ऐसे कोई मस्ताना निकले है अपनी धुन में दीवाना शाम सुहानी बन जाते हैं दिन इंतजार के ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के आटों पे चलते हिलेंगे साए बाहर के ओ राही 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 कारवां है ये तेरा इम्तिहान है साथी न कारवां ही चला चल दिल के सहारे, करती है मंजिल तुझको इशारे। देख कहीं कोई रोक नहीं ले तुझको पुकार के, ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही, रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के, आटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बाहर के, ओ राही 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 ओ राही।
That was so beautiful. Thank you, Mohanji, for reminding us not to stop and continue our hard work. My name is Shekhar Reddy. I'm a volunteer from South Florida region. Surviving the pandemic was a big challenge in the US. Can you imagine how it must have been in the remote and rural villages? Did the children understand what the pandemic was? How did they survive? Do we have voices from the villages to answer these questions? Thank you, Mohanji, one more time.
We received short videos from the children and sevikas from several villages in India, where Ekal Foundation has emphasized education about COVID. It is heartwarming to hear the young rural children describe the symptoms of COVID and the precautions that they took. Along with that, to hear the sevikas adapt to the challenges of the coronavirus.
अच्छा, कोरोना के बारे में आपको क्या पता है?
कोरोना के बारे में ये पता कि कोरोना जब आया था तो लोगों को हमें पता नहीं था कि ये इससे कैसे बचा जा सकता। जब ये हाफ दुनिया में फैल चुका था तब लोगों को पता चल रहा था कि कोरोना ऐसे है, तो इसके लक्षण हैं बीमार, खांसी, बुखार, फेफड़ों को तकलीफ होना।
कोरोना जहाँको होइतबो तार छिंक तार काश एवं ताको छुइले आमको कोरोना हेबो। सेथिपाय आमे सैनिटाइजर व्यवहार करिया, बारंबार साबुन ले हाथ धोइबा एवं सैनिटाइजर मास्क व्यवहार करिया।
आप ग्रामीणों को किस तरह जागरूक करते थे?
हम घर घर जाके बोलते थे कि सभी हाथ अच्छी तरह से धोएं और सभी दूर रहें और मास्क को पहने रखें। और हमने गांव में जाकर कई बहनों में इकट्ठा होकर हमने मास्क बनाए, 3-4 हजार मास्क बनाए।
A village in Maharashtra shows us the perseverance of our sevikas adapting to the new reality.
देश पे के आम पेड़ पे लगे रे, इनमें से 2 गिरे कितने बचे रे, इनमें से 2 गिरे कितने बचे रे, कितने बचे?
Despite the disruptions due to COVID, the career aspirations of these young children inspire us to work harder.
आप बड़े होकर क्या बनना चाहते हैं?
मैं बड़े होकर डॉक्टर बनना चाहती हूँ।
बड़ा हले तुम कौन हबो?
बड़ा हले डॉक्टर है।
डॉक्टर है कौन करिवो?
जिनका सेवा करेंगे।
पढ़ लिख कर ये बड़ा होगा, ये क्या बनना चाहते हो? फौजी।
तुला मोठा झालो काय बनायचंय?
पोलीस।
We're Pen Masala, the world's first South Asian a cappella group. The Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation, although rooted in education, has now blossomed into empowerment of rural tribes and areas in India. It has provided free education to more than 2.15 million boys and girls and made an impact in over 300,000 villages. This includes conflict regions of Jammu Kashmir and Nepal with thousands of Ekal-sponsored schools. $365 or $500 Canadian supports a school of about 35 students for education and healthcare for the entire year. Ekal services are provided free of cost, irrespective of caste, faith, or gender. It is the largest grassroots mass movement undertaken by Indians and NRIs all over the world. Ekal's work is focused, but not limited to children's education. Ekal also works on village development, supporting multiple skill-enhancing cottage industries for thousands of women. Ekal has established 10 research centers for farmers. Each of these centers benefits at least 100,000 villagers directly and 1 million in total. We're super excited to be performing for you. Thank you.
मैं हूं ना तेरा ना सोच तू है यहाँ अकेला मुश्किल घड़ी में साथ कोई हो ना हो मैं हूं ना तेरा मैं हूं ना तेरा ना सोच तू है यहाँ अकेला मुश्किल घड़ी में साथ कोई हो ना हो मैं हूं ना तेरा काली घनेरी डरावनी सी हो हम साथ हैं तो अंधेरे मिटा दे फिर तेरे इरादे हो तू कर दे सवेरा ना सोच तू है यहाँ अकेला मुश्किल घड़ी में साथ कोई हो ना हो मैं हूं ना तेरा पाऊं मैं तुझको जब भी पुकारूं तू साथ मेरे हो मौका दे मुझको तेरी दर्द बांटूं शिकन को मिटा दूं और मैं ले लूं हम तेरा ना सोच तू है यहाँ अकेला मुश्किल घड़ी में साथ कोई हो ना हो मैं हूं ना तेरा तेरा मैं हूं ना तेरा
If we can find it in our hearts to come together and even now help a little more, as much as we can, I think we can make a huge difference.
To help them, please make a contribution to the relief efforts at the link in the description.
If not now, then when?
Me and all my friends are all misunderstood. They say we stand for nothing and there's a way we could. Now we see everything that's going wrong with the world that goes a leader. Just feel like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. One day a generation is gonna rule the population. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. सारी उम्र हम मर मर के जिए एक पल तो हमें जीने दो सारी उम्र हम मर मर के जी लिए एक पल तो हमें जीने दो ना 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 another wanna grow up once again. Give me some sunshine, give me some rain, give me another chance. I wanna grow up once again. Na 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 na, na 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 na, na 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 na.
आओ लोगों तुम्हें सुनाएं गाथा एकल अभियान की। इस मूवमेंट में हिस्सा लो, ये फ्यूचर है इंडिया का। हे आओ लोगों तुम्हें सुनाएं गाथा एकल अभियान की। इस मूवमेंट में हिस्सा लो, ये फ्यूचर है इंडिया का। Lead, empower, educate, adapt, persevere, innovate. Lead, empower, educate, adapt, persevere, innovate. सिंगल टीचर वाले स्कूल, बच्चे पढ़े हैं पेड़ तले। एक नहीं ऐसे 100,000 विद्यालय चले। पंचमुखी एजुकेशन से ज्ञान के भंडार खुले। शिक्षा के प्रदान से महिला टीचर का मान बढ़े। बच्चा बच्चा साक्षर हो, सुंदर छवि जहान की। इस मूवमेंट में हिस्सा
Good evening, everyone. I hope you are enjoying the program. I'm Prashant Shah, former board member of Ekal USA and currently the president of its Pittsburgh chapter. As you know, Ekal in its schools, more than half the students are girls. As they say, if you educate a girl child, you're not just educating one person, but the entire future generation. With this in mind, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the next fireside chat on the power of education with our host, Mr. Yogesh Patel. Yogi Bhai, as we fondly call him, is a key pillar of Ekal. He's the president of the Southwest region and chair of the Houston Gala committee, and has personally visited numerous Ekal schools in India. It gives me double pleasure to introduce our guest, Dr. Renu Khator. She symbolizes the power of educating a girl child. Dr. Renu Khator is in her second decade as the president of University of Houston and of University of Houston's Systems Chancellorship. During her tenure, the University of Houston has seen record-breaking research funding, enrollment, and private support. Her Here We Go campaign has raised more than $1 billion for the university. An ardent supporter of Ekal, Dr. Khator is also a member of Indian Prime Minister's Empowered Expert Committee. She's also been inducted into the Texas Women Hall of Fame. So without much ado, here's to Yogi Bhai.
Thank you, Prashant Bhai, for that introduction. Hello, Renuji. Namaskar. Thank you for giving your valuable time today out of your very busy schedule.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Congratulations for making University of Houston a Tier 1 research university as recognized by Carnegie Foundation. Also, the Cougars have been invited to Big 12 conference. Amazing achievement. And Cougars have been beating up on their opponents. What do you have to say for that?
Well, I am blessed and proud to be here in Houston for the last 14 years as the Chancellor and President. It takes great communities to build great universities, and I'm very, very grateful for Houston, all of the people, including all of our Indian friends here. Everybody has supported so much on the vision, and I think what we have accomplished it together.
We're supposed to talk about power of education today. But before we get there, I would like you to talk about your journey from a small village in India to becoming a president of one of the large university in the US. Most of our listeners know Dr. Renu Khator, but they may not know how she got there.
Well, Thank you. That question takes me back several decades, and I would say my journey is same as many, many other people who have come from India to this country. I came as 18 years old and from a Marwadi family. This never, ever in my life I could have imagined that I would be heading one of the finest institutions in America. But I loved education, and my parents arranged my marriage. I came here and said, you remember, I said I wanted education, so I need to get education. And there were a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges. However, your journey is done along with so many people. I got wonderful values from India, from my family, my mother, my father. My mother, who always believed girls could do anything boys could. And then I was so blessed that my father chose my husband, Dr. Niren Chaudhary. He, unlike anybody I've seen, he not only supported my dreams, but he became part of my dreams. Actually, my dream became his dream. And the journey brought us here. So I just say simply, I am humbled, very grateful. I didn't want to be here in America, but I'm so fortunate. God had much better plans for me. And everything that you see here, I tell my students, I tell people that it's not without failures, it's not without discouragements, it's not without obstacles. You just got to have your dream and persevere and just keep moving forward.
Renuji, you have been a long-time supporter of Ekal. Can you tell us how Ekal was introduced to you for its work in rural and tribal areas?
It was several years ago that somebody brought the proposal to us, and we came to know of Ekal. I come from a small town, and I have seen so many rural areas around my hometown of Farrukhabad, where I've seen students, particularly girl students, not having an opportunity. And I know finding good teachers can be really difficult. I mean, I took English throughout my education just like it's taken, but I didn't know any English when I came here. I mean, I knew some grammar maybe, but I wasn't familiar with it. So it is so important. Education is the key. It opens all the doors. What Ekal is doing is not just providing education, but is providing education in areas where there is no opportunity. So you have only two choices: nothing, or you can get this high quality, very uniquely built education model. I was inspired right away, and I thought, this is not about changing one student's life. It is changing about an entire generation. And if you educate a girl, you are changing completely the next generation of all the kids that are coming along, as well as the lifting of the entire quality of life for that family, for that village sometimes.
One of the mission of Ekal is empowering women. In your view, what is the role of education in women's empowerment, especially in rural and tribal areas of India?
Education, as I said, is literally the key to the better quality of life. I went through all girls school and all girls college throughout because my father didn't want me to go to a co-educational program. Thank God that there was a college that opened just a year ago. That's how I could even get my bachelor's degree in India from my town. So I understand the value of opportunity. In that college at that time, because it was only a year old, we didn't even have a proper roof. We didn't have proper walls. The walls still needed cement. The roof was still of tin roof. I understand how important it was. Had I not had that opportunity, I wouldn't be here. But the beauty is this, that the education I got built such good theory for me, such good fundamentals for me, that I could come here and compete in this most rigorous educational environment in the world. So kudos to our Indian education system. Kudos to the values that we say that education is important for social mobility.
One of the interviews 4 years ago, Renuji talked about university being part of the neighborhood and uplifting of the neighborhood, especially the third ward. Can you tell us about that program and tell us how it's going?
That program is working beautifully. Our students are there in all 4 areas. So our 4 areas is, one is education, one is health, third is entrepreneurship, and fourth one is preserving the heritage and the culture, which is, I believe, very similar to what Ekal is trying to do as well. When you focus, make those goals, and you have proper strategies, but not just the strategies, then you have metrics to see if the needle is moving, things will move. Now we have our students, faculty, staff out in the third ward doing all kinds of things that I need another 2 hours to talk about, but we can see the needle moving. And that is a really beautiful experience for our students.
You always have credited the people around you for your success, especially your husband Sureshji. In the interview, you also mentioned that Sureshji cooks last-minute meals for you. So what are some of the dishes he cooks for you?
Well, first thing is my morning tea with adrak and elaichi and tulsi, and without that, I don't think I even get functional. And then he is a phenomenal cook. He can cook anything and everything if he decides to cook. So most of the time I'm the cook, but it's nice to once in a while go home and have meal ready with candle at the table and a glass of wine. I think that's his way of saying I love you, I guess.
Renuji, I'd like to end with a rapid fire question. Just give me your first answer that comes to your mind. Your favorite cuisine?
After Indian cuisine, of course, I would say Japanese.
Japanese. Favorite Indian dish?
I like curry chawal, I would say. I just miss my mom's curry, and that's probably my favorite.
Your favorite dish prepared by Sureshji?
Well, let's see. I think he makes a fantastic bangan bharta, and he makes a very good guacamole.
Okay. Your favorite travel destination?
After India, I would say Croatia.
Your favorite sport?
I would have to say basketball. I love all sports, and I didn't play sports in India, but I love all sports. But the basketball gets me completely immersed.
How about your favorite color?
Oh, it has to be red. Everything red is, my closet is 2/3 red, maybe 90% red.
Thank you very much, Renuji, for giving us this time for Ekal's Future of India Gala 2021. We at Ekal are proud of you and your achievement as a Tier 1 educator and very successful administrator. Thank you.
सिंधु है संघर्षों का पार नहीं है माना अगम अगाध सिंधु है संघर्षों का पार नहीं है किंतु डूबना मझधारों में साहस को स्वीकार नहीं है साहस को स्वीकार नहीं है जटिल समस्या
गांधी जी के ग्राम स्वराज को धरातल पर उतारने का बीड़ा उठाया है एकल अभियान ने। लाखों बच्चों के सपनों को उड़ान देकर।
मैम, अब एकल अभियान के साथ बहुत सालों से जुड़ी हुई हैं। आपने बच्चों को खूब सपोर्ट किया है।
आई एम वेरी हैप्पी दैट आई एम एबल टू डू समथिंग गुड फॉर दीज चिल्ड्रन।
एजुकेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बेसिक एजुकेशन एटलीस्ट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि आपके दिमाग को खोल देता है, गिव्स यू अ पर्सपेक्टिव दुनिया के ऊपर और आप क्या बनना चाहते हो अपनी ज़िंदगी में. सो प्लीज़ स्टडी, खास करके लड़कियाँ प्लीज़ जाके पढ़िए.
एजुकेशन बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, तो प्लीज़ उसे कभी छोड़िए मत. जो आपका पैशन है वो हमेशा फॉलो कीजिए, अपनी दिल की सुनिए, बट हमेशा पढ़ाई लिखाई पे ध्यान दीजिए, क्योंकि एजुकेशन इज अ मस्ट एंड अ लिटरेट मैन कैन चेंज द वर्ल्ड.
एकल अभियान जो काम कर रहा है वो बहुत ही अच्छा है एंड आई स्ट्रांगली सपोर्ट इट.
मैं ये कहूँगा कि हर बच्चे को कि y'all are kids today, but y'all are our future and you're the future of India. So shine, smile and think you're the flag bearer.
सर, एकल अभियान छोटे छोटे बच्चों की एजुकेशन को प्रमोट करता है. क्या आप एकल अभियान को प्रमोट करते हैं, सपोर्ट करते हैं?
बिल्कुल सपोर्ट करूँगा.
सर, अगर आप सपोर्ट करेंगे तो आप हमारे लिए छोटी सी रिक्वेस्ट है हमारी तरफ से, ये एकल अभियान का जिंगल है, तो आप हमारे लिए अपनी सुरीली आवाज में प्लीज गा दीजिए.
छिड़ गई है किस्मत से एक लड़ाई, कल के भारत की एक पहचान बनाई.
यार, सबसे बस हाथ जोड़ के यही गुजारिश करना चाहता हूँ कि अपने बच्चों को स्कूल अवश्य भेजें एंड जस्ट इन केस वो पढ़ाई में अच्छे नहीं भी हैं, आप उनको इनकरेज करें कि वो स्पोर्ट्स में या म्यूजिक में या किसी न किसी तरीके की पढ़ाई में वो आगे जाए.
एक एक जोड़ सबने पकड़ी दूजी पैया, धूप अब मिली तो कल मिलेगी तुझको छैया.
सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस ये है कि इट गिव्स यू कॉन्फिडेंस टू फेस द वर्ल्ड. You know, there is a discipline which is inculcated in you.
Very true.
एक तो घर पे माँ बाप कुछ शिक्षा देते हैं, उसके बाद गुरु की शिक्षा भी इम्पोर्टेंट होती है.
एकल अभियान इज ग्रेट एंडेवर.
रातों के सीने पे ये तो झिलमिल किसी से उगे हैं.
2012 के लंदन ओलंपिक्स की टॉर्च बेरर, जिसने इंडिया को रिप्रेजेंट करके इंडिया का नाम रोशन किया, आसाम की टी कम्युनिटी से मिस पिंकी कर्माकर. इंटरमीडिएट नेशनल कराटे चैंपियनशिप में गोल्ड मेडल जीतने वाली महाराष्ट्र शिवसेत गांव की 13 वर्षीय मिस दिव्या मालगवे.
2 साल की कड़ी मेहनत से अपने साधारण से गांव को एक आइडियल गांव बनाकर मिसाल कायम करने वाली उत्तर प्रदेश अलीगुंज गांव से श्री रामचंद्र वर्मा.
एकल हीरोज, may you continue to inspire all of us.
एकल विद्यालयों के विद्यार्थी और लाखों किसान आज एकल अभियान को जन आंदोलन का रूप दे चुके हैं. आइए आप भी इस जन अभियान से जुड़िए और इन नन्हे ग्रामीण बच्चों के सपनों की उड़ान को नए पंख दीजिए.
The Sky is Pink is a film that has touched the hearts of millions of viewers around the world. The courageous story of late Aisha Chaudhary and her family is truly awe-inspiring. It is a story of compassion, love, and giving. Please welcome Aisha's father, Niren Chaudhary, the CEO of Panera Bread, as he shares his thoughts on the power of giving with Ranjani Sehgal, Executive Director of Ekal USA.
Hello and welcome, Nirenji. Thank you so much for taking the time to be part of this Ekal Future of India Gala.
Thank you.
To our audience, we are really honored here to have with us Niren Chaudhary, who is the CEO of Panera Bread. Prior to joining Panera as its CEO, he has had over 25 years of leadership experience in the food and retail industry. He was with Yum Brands in India and actually was the president of KFC Global, where you have served as the leader for, I think, 5,000 stores, managing 5,000 stores in 50 different countries. I don't know how you did that, but that's amazing. And then went on to becoming chief operating officers for Krispy Kreme Donuts. And thanks to I thank God that now you're in Boston and leading Panera Bread and helped actually during its transformation during the pandemic. But one of the most important things that many of our audience know about you is your story, your family story was the one that was featured in The Sky is Pink. And that has been an inspiration to millions around the world. So maybe I'll start there, Nirenji. The Sky is Pink, showed us that your daughter really has become a Vishwaguru. And but I'd like to know for you, who was Aisha, and what would you like our audience to know about Aisha?
Thank you so much, and it's a real pleasure to be here with you. I really admire all the fantastic work that you're doing back in India. I have deep respect for that. Well, as you mentioned, Aisha, my daughter, is my biggest inspiration. I lost her when she was 18 years old in 2015, and she died from pulmonary fibrosis. But as you mentioned, I think Aisha's story is not a story of a young life that was lost prematurely, but a story of a young woman who lived life on her terms, and so brilliantly that she lit up the sky with her attitude. And I think she continues to inspire me, and I'm grateful through programs like this and the movie The Sky is Pink. She has come back to life in the hearts of millions of people who may not have known her and get inspired by her. I think for me, the three things that inspire me about Aisha was her courage, her deep sense of gratitude, and her generosity. And let me talk to you a little bit about that. So in terms of courage, Aisha always believed in having the intentionality to always focus on that which she had control over and not on what was happening to her. So always focus on what you can control and not what's happening. You can give you a tremendous sense of empowerment even in the most difficult situations. It gives you a sense of resilience that even though life knocks you down, you still have the ability to get up and fight again. You get knocked down, but you get up and you fight once again, always trying to be the very best version of yourself that you can be. So that was about courage that I learned about Aisha, and I remind myself constantly about. The second aspect of inspiration from Aisha was the importance of gratitude. That all of us can discover everyday miracles if we remind ourselves to look through the lens of gratitude. If we look through the lens of gratitude, then there are miracles happening every day. I think there's so much that we should be grateful for. The fact that you and I are alive and we're having this conversation, the fact that you're doing this amazing work back in India, the fact that I have the privilege of leading a brand and a business like Panera Bread. Gratitude for those we love, those who love us, gratitude to be here together at this point in time is so important, because very often life is a mixed bag of things that go wrong and things that are going well. And if we're not careful, we get so weighed down by what's not going right that we forget to step back and just appreciate the goodness that we have around us. And finally, Aisha had this wisdom to know that true joy lies in the act of giving. And she has written in her book, My Little Epiphanies, that if you can't change your own life, there is always someone else's. And I think that is a spirit of generosity that I think all of us should embrace. And there is always healing to be had in helping other people, which is why I admire what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Nirenji. That is so amazing to say. If you cannot change your own life, change somebody else's. I thought that was a brilliant thing that Aisha has said and brought. And what really moved me about the movie was that, people invested in Aisha when they did not know her potential. And people with very small, givings, they actually did that. And we saw the result of that. And, so at Ekal as well, we are investing, with $1 a day to bring education to 30 children in a village, the potential of whom we don't know. So, as both the recipient, of a giving and giving back as well. What did that, what advice or what things, inspirational things you might want to tell our viewers who are investing in such young children?
Well, I think the background for our viewers who may not be aware of the story that you're referring to, just a quick recap. So Aisha was born with an immune deficiency, and the only cure was a bone marrow transplant. I was living in India at that time, and all of my life savings were very little and inadequate to pay for that transplant. I flew her to the UK, which was in itself a very daunting task. Could not have done that without the help of my friends. And once in the UK, I was told by the doctors I had to raise £150,000 in 2 weeks, failing which Aisha would die. And I did a radio appeal in Sunrise Radio at that time, and I was very grateful and fortunate that Aisha's story connected with a nation that was not her own. And the interesting thing is that Aisha as a name belonged to everybody. The Christians thought Aisha was hers, the Muslims thought Aisha was hers, Sri Lankans thought she was theirs, Hindus thought she was hers, and everybody connected and everybody gifted. And it was all small amounts, whatever anybody could afford. And through that, we were able to raise more than what we needed in a very short period of time. In fact, I had to go back on radio and appeal to stop sending checks because we had a room that was full of envelopes and donations. But here's a very moving story to your point about no amount is small and every amount counts. I was on my way from the airport to the hospital in a taxi, and we had done the radio appeal. When I reached the hospital, the taxi driver turned around to me and he said, "Are you going into the Great Ormond Street Hospital?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Can you give this money to Aisha Chaudhary?" And he gave me £5. And he said, because her Abu Jan is from India and they don't have money. And I couldn't believe it. I was, I teared up and I hugged him and I said, "I so appreciate you doing this for me." And it were moments like that and people like that who came together. And I felt so humbled by the spirit of generosity of a country and people that were not our own.
Yeah.
And I think it is through compassion that we break boundaries, through compassion that we come together in the spirit of humanity, to help each other. And therefore, I think generosity and compassion transcends borders, and it is something that I feel very humbled by, and I want to pay it forward. I want to therefore similarly impact those who may also be less fortunate or in difficult circumstances and make a difference in their lives.
That's fantastic, fantastic. And this investment clearly shows she really changed the world in beautiful ways. And every day I think you are getting messages about how she has been impacting their life. I'm going to change it a little bit and ask you about your experience in India. I know that you have lived significant amount of time there and worked there as well, especially in the food industry and all of that. We are investing in rural India. And India is, I think, 70% rural, and yet the development has been predominantly in urban areas. So what do you think from your experience, why is it important to invest in rural India, and what do you see as a vision of a beautiful India when it is in its perfect shape?
I'm a very proud Indian. I think who I am today is entirely down to my culture, my family, my country. And as you said, India currently is 30% urban, 70% rural. So a big part of India is rural. And we cannot move the country forward without moving that population that lives in rural India and help them unlock their full potential. And that's why I admire what you're doing, because the unlock of that potential is education. I really believe that education is the force multiplier that can transform the lives of people, especially if education is focused on empowering women. Because I think women who are mothers, who are sisters, who are daughters. If women are educated, I think it completely transforms societies. And I think therefore the work that you're doing is deeply important and very foundational to move our nation forward. I'm a big believer in India's potential. But we cannot unlock that potential by leaving rural India behind and women behind. And that's why I'm very inspired by what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And as you know, the model that we have at Ekal is actually very woman-centered. You know, we take a rural woman and train her to be a teacher, and that's how we run those schools in the rural areas. We take women, train them to be healthcare workers, and actually we are providing skill training for women, particularly using tailoring as an way, and also digital literacy is something that we are bringing forward.
I feel very deeply about, like I said, about my country, in particular about women, and I think rural India. So I think you're working on all of those areas, and it would be a privilege for me to be helpful in some way.
Fantastic. I think with your involvement, I'm sure Ekal will again transform itself to do the best it can. So at this time, of course, I would love to introduce your very other important skill to our audience, your musical talent. And would you kindly play a song for us today?
Would be delighted to.
Thank you very much.
ए मेरी ज़मीं अफसोस नहीं जो तेरे लिए सौ दर्द सहे महफूस रहे तेरी आन सदा चाहे जान मेरी ये रहे न रहे तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावां गुल बनके मैं खिल जावां इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू तेरी नदियों में बह जावां तेरे खेतों में लहरावां इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू ओ हो
Beautiful. Oh my goodness, Nirenji.
Thank you.
Spectacular, spectacular.
Thank you.
That song was just marvelous, Nirenji. Thank you so much. And to see your daughter's face painted on that guitar, she's with you forever. And actually, your daughter is not just with you, she's with all of us. And really, really grateful to your family for sharing that story. It's probably not very easy to put such a thing out there. So thank you for that. And thank you for your time today to inspire us and for your promise to help us transform rural India with your out-of-box thinking and your support. Thank you so much, Nirenji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Real pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nirenji, for showing us the dramatic impact that giving can have in the lives of people. At Ekal, for the donation of just $10,950, you can provide education to over 900 children. Imagine that. You have the power to uplift children in remote rural areas out of poverty by giving a gift of education. Ekal is unique, for we combine the power of giving with the power of volunteerism. For every dollar that is invested by the donor, we have over $8 of volunteer time that is invested in each and every project. Your dollar, whether that be for educating a child or empowering a woman through the skill development centers, can go a long way in transforming not just the life of the child or the woman, but impacting the lives of the family members and the lives of generations of people to come. We thank all the donors who have been with us on this journey for several years. And those of you who are joining us today, we welcome you with an open arms and request you to become part of the Ekal family. If any of you would like to donate today, please go to www.ekal.org/gala2021. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the President of Ekal USA, Mr. Suresh Iyer, who will share the vision that Ekal has for the future. You can then use that as a reference to decide where you would like to invest your dollar. Over to you, Sureshji.
Namaste. Good evening to everyone joining us at our Ekal Virtual Gala 2021. What an incredible evening it's been so far, with each panelist sharing their insight with our audience on giving. As Nirenji rightfully mentioned, Ekal is laser focused in the upliftment of 70% of the population that lives in the rural villages, and more importantly promote women empowerment in these villages. In the next few minutes, I want to present our Vision 2025, which is really a roadmap that we have planned to bring holistic development of the villages that we serve. We have initiated several interventions over the past few years, mainly to address the different sections of the village community. And we have seen a lot of success in many of these programs, and our desire is to expedite these things so that it reaches the right audience faster, and more importantly, bridge the rural-urban economic divide. Ekal's first initiative, as you all probably know, was setting up this one teacher school with the goal of reaching 100,000 villages. And I'm extremely happy and delighted to mention that as of December 2019, we reached that goal. 2 years back, we actually introduced the e-Siksha initiative, mainly as an enhancement to the Ekal Vidyalayas for the children, primarily K through 3, providing tablet-based education with curated content, focusing on the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. And this was mainly to reduce the digital divide that we started seeing quite a bit between the urban and rural sectors. And with this initiative, we have reached about 3% of the villages that we serve, almost about 3,000 villages right now. And we plan to have by 2025 all the 100,000 plus schools that we have e-Siksha enabled. For the next initiative, we actually introduced Arogya or telemedicine. We clearly understand that education and health go together. So we do this by providing a trained health worker, or what we call as Arogya Sevika, and provide her with tablets, smartphones, and with applications with which they can actually do pre-screening, health pre-screening of the village community, upload the data to the cloud, and we have physicians on the cloud, volunteers who could actually look at that, evaluate, and come up with remedial measures, as well as referrals to the local PHC, which we call as last mile service. We currently have about 1,200 villages covered with Arogya and telemedicine, and our goal is to reach 36,000 villages by 2025. The Ekal on Wheel project primarily provides computer training to our youth as part of the skills development or vocational training program. And this is with an intent to provide immediate employable skills to our village youth. And also, most importantly, we want to retain them in the villages and prevent the drain to urban centers. The other program that we have mainly for the girls in the villages is the Women Empowerment Centers, or basically the tailoring training that we provide using a master trainer. And at the end of the training, we provide them with machines so that they can continue their earnings and livelihood as part of that. This has been a phenomenal program, and it's been quite successful. We have seen a lot of these girls come together, setting up their own self-help groups, and primarily promote micro-entrepreneurship. And currently we have about 33 of these Women Empowerment Center. We want to grow that 5 times, almost about 150 by 2025. The last 2 programs, which are our flagship large projects, IVD, which is basically the Integrated Village Development, and Gramothan Resource Centers, which is the GRCs, they actually provide all the services that we just outlined, supporting education, health, skill development, and also farmers' education. In the case of IVD, it is a cluster of 30 villages. In the case of GRC, it's a cluster of 100 villages nearby. And in the case of IVD, we lease the land, whereas in the case of GRC, we actually own the land. So that's really the main difference. And as of now, we have about 12 IVDs running across the country, and our desire is to expand it to 36 by end of 2025. As far as GRC is concerned, we have about 15 of those, and we would like to double it by end of 2025. In summary, as you see, all the identified projects that Ekal is involved with currently are primarily to increase the overall impact, economic as well as social, that we could bring to these villages. And our hope is by expediting this to reach more villages as soon as possible by 2025, we want to make sure that that impact is felt even more. We are truly thankful to everyone who have helped us, especially our donors, to make this dream of ours possible. And we are extremely confident of your continued support going forward, so that we can actually meet our 2025 targets and goals. Thank you all for being part of this evening, and enjoy rest of the evening today. Before I sign off, I want to make sure that our next segment is going to be by our young professionals and youth ambassadors. They will be sharing their thoughts with you on why Ekal. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
My name is Arjun, and I am a longtime supporter of Ekal. To give you a quick background on myself, I was born in Hong Kong and grew up between New Delhi and Florida. For college, I went to Stanford, where I studied computer science and AI. After graduating in 2015, I joined Palantir Technologies, where today I run Palantir's aviation business and lead work across our private sector organization. I began my journey with Ekal as a high school student in Florida. I learned about the organization through events the Florida chapter was hosting, and after learning about both the mission and methodology of Ekal, I was quickly compelled by the level of impact that the organization was having. Notably, there were 3 things about Ekal that stood out to me. First, I strongly believed and bought in to the mission of using education to address problems at the root source, building a new generation of educated individuals that have the opportunity to advance themselves. Second, I was amazed by the leverage Ekal was able to have. That is to say, the amount of impact per dollar Ekal has compared to almost any other organization I had encountered. Using a decentralized model to run schools on just $1 per day was astounding. Third, I was inspired by the scale of Ekal. The concept of reaching over 100,000 villages in far reaches of the country was unheard of. And so, being inspired by Ekal's mission, I started to look for ways that I personally could contribute to accelerating Ekal's trajectory. With my older brother, I started to run a club in my high school where we would engage in local fundraising activities in the community. Things such as selling food, organizing events, and raising funds through our networks. Since then, I've continued to support Ekal and volunteer through events around the country. Being part of Ekal has had a profound impact on my life. Personally, it has brought meaning in my life by being able to give back in a way that has had visible impact on our community. In my education, it has played a strong role in college admissions and where I was able to pursue my academic career. Professionally, it has helped me develop skills around fundraising and leadership that I still use today. Ekal is an organization that has been incredibly rewarding to be a part of. I encourage everyone to do the same. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Akshu Naganti, and I'm a Youth Board Co-Director.
Hi, my name is Rashi Lakotia, and I'm the other Youth Board Co-Director.
Hi, my name is Kartika Nair, and I am a fundraising head.
My name is Arushi Kara, and I'm the other fundraising head.
My name is Neha Balagapudi, and I'm the public relations head.
My name is Sanvi Desai, and I'm one of the collegiate representatives.
Together, we are the Ekal Youth Board. Being a part of the Ekal Youth Board has been enriching, and I've grown a lot as a person since I first joined Ekal as a youth volunteer. The fundraiser I conducted was the International GOB competition with Parth Sharma, a friend of mine, and also a youth volunteer. It was an experience that helped deepen my understanding of the benefits of working with Ekal.
Just last year, I conducted a public speaking and debate workshop where we sent our proceeds to tailoring centers in Ekal villages to boost up women empowerment and as a form of feminism. I truly think that this was one of the most favorite experiences that I've had, not only with Ekal, but in my lifetime, because I was able to see how my contributions could help those all the way in India, just as Ekal does.
We initially got involved when we started volunteering for Ekal at an event, and we got inspired by Ekal's cause, and decided to start our own club called Project Education for All.
Last year, we organized 2 educational workshops called Engineering for Kids and Sustainable Nutrition. And through those workshops, we were able to raise money for 3 schools in India. And it was such a great experience to be part of Ekal and work to make a positive change in society.
Hello, my name is Paranshu Shah, and I'm currently a freshman at Penn State in their direct medical program. And I would like to speak just a little bit as to what Ekal has given to me. The amount of opportunities, leadership, and real-world experience that Ekal has provided me has opened my horizons and broadened my perspective into communities I would have never been able to venture into without the help of Ekal. And it makes me not only devoted to the work I do with Ekal, but also outside of Ekal, through things such as virtual internships, both physical internships, and even schoolwork. It makes me realize that there is much more to life than what I've been exposed to, and it truly is a wonderful cause.
Hi, my name is Sanvi Desai, and Ekal has continually shaped me to be a better person. In the past, the Reach to Teach internship was such an eye-opening and humbling experience, wherein I, alongside 3 other EYLs, drafted a proposal to combat a lack of individualized instruction and mental health awareness. Working with EYLs in the For Youth by Youth organization, especially in the PR committee, I've also found the social media and marketing side of workshops and fundraisers rather interesting. Now in college, I plan to act as a mentor to other EYLs and continue making my impact on the South Asian community through USC Project Rishi.
Hi there, my name is Ayan Sanjanwala and I am from Kansas City. Last year, around this time, the COVID situation was devastating rural India, and I wanted to do something where I could have a direct impact on helping people that were in need. I started contacting and presenting to many different nonprofit organizations around the country to raise awareness of the situation in rural India. Finally, I was successful with an organization known as Heart to Heart International. Ultimately, we were able to raise and send over $45,000 in supplies and aid to India through the Ekal Vidyalaya network. I'm very proud to have been part of providing these essential items and forging a partnership between Heart to Heart International and Ekal Vidyalaya that will provide supplies and resources for people of rural India for years yet to come.
In addition to supporting Ekal, through leadership and service, we stay involved in our local community as well.
Over the past 5 years, we have led several volunteer activities.
We always help in a unique way.
And we're excited to continue making a difference.
We can make dreams like these come true because of people like you.
एकल है पहचान हमारी, एक हमारा नारा है, हम संताने भारत माँ की, भारत देश हमारा है, भारत देश हमारा है। एकल है पहचान हमारी, एक हमारा नारा है, हम संताने भारत माँ की, भारत देश हमारा है, भारत देश हमारा है। शिक्षा का दीपक लेकर हम गांव-गांव में जाएंगे, शिक्षा का दीपक लेकर हम गांव-गांव में जाएंगे। भारत की पावन भूमि को फिर से स्वर्ग बनाएंगे, भारत की पावन भूमि को फिर से स्वर्ग बनाएंगे। गांव का हर बच्चा हो शिक्षित, यह संकल्प हमारा है। गांव का हर बच्चा हो शिक्षित, यह संकल्प हमारा है। हम संताने भारत माँ की, भारत देश हमारा है, भारत देश हमारा है। एकल है पहचान हमारी, एक हमारा नारा है। हम संताने भारत माँ की, भारत देश हमारा है, भारत देश हमारा है।
My dear brothers and sisters of Ekal USA and Ekal America, I congratulate you for holding Gala 21 and wish best of achievements more than last year. As you know, I have been given the responsibility of Ekal Abhiyan CEO. I am in India to work and understand what we can do. I promise all of you that we will achieve our goal to satisfy our donors in terms of execution and transparency. You know, we have come a far way from schools to skill development, tailoring center, computer lab, e-shiksha, integrated village development, computer on wheels, and Gramothan centers. And all these things will help us to achieve Atmanirbhar Bharat in coming years. By 2025, we have a bigger goal and we will achieve it. I'm sure all of us will work together in India as well as outside to make things better, better education, our impact study as well as the transparency. I wish you best. Namaste. Thank you very much.
We owe a debt of gratitude to the Gala team under the leadership of Mohan Vansuji and Kamlesh Bhai to bring this program to you. Gala owes its success to you, the donor, who have so generously opened your heart and wallet. Your generosity and kindness is greatly appreciated. Ekal owes its success to volunteers in US and India to bring awareness and implement all the program. In US, I would like to sincerely thank all the past and present volunteers, chapter presidents, regional presidents, executive committee members, working committee members, and board members for their hard work and amazing contribution. I am also thankful to youth volunteers and leadership for their involvement in bringing the awareness to the second generation. With all your support from donor and the volunteers, Ekal is ready to build a beautiful future for rural India. If you would like to join us as a volunteer or would like to make a pledge, please visit ekal.org/Gala 2021. Now it is my pleasure to introduce to you the entertainment segment presented to you by Pan Masala, a youthful, innovative a cappella group from University of Pennsylvania. They will take you now through a delightful musical journey. Enjoy the presentation. Thank you.
We're Pan Masala, the world's first South Asian a cappella group. We're super excited to be performing for you. Thank you.
हे शुभारंभ हो शुभारंभ मंगल बिलाई, सपनों की डहरी पे दिल की बाजी रे शहनाई शहनाई शहनाई। भर दो झोली मेरी या मोहम्मद, लौट कर मैं न जाऊंगा खाली। भर दो झोली मेरी या मोहम्मद, लौट कर मैं न जाऊंगा खाली। कागज के दो पंख लेके उड़ा चला जाए रे, जहाँ नहीं जाना जाए वही चला है रे। कि देखे न भाले न जाने न दाए रे, दिशाहारा केमन पोका मोंटारे। যদি তোর দক্ষিণে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। வந்தே நாடு கலந்த வீடு, நினைவே நினைவே எந்த நெஞ்சோடு கலந்த வீடு. പുഞ്ചിരി തഞ്ചി കുഞ്ചിക്കോ മുത്തിരി മുത്തിരി ചിന്തിക്കോ വഞ്ചനി വന്ന ചുന്ദരി വാവേ താങ്ങിനക്ക തകതിമിയാടും തങ്ങനിലാവേ. ജിയ ജലേ ജാ ജലേ നനു തലേ ധ്രുവ ചലേ ധ്രുവ ചലേ. വെണ്ണിലവേ വെണ്ണിലവേ വിണ്ണെ താണ്ടി വരുവായ വിളയാട് ജോഡി ദേവൈ. இந்த பூலோகத்தில் யாரும் பார்க்கும் முன்னே உன்னை அதிகால அனுப்பி வைப்போம். अंबर सरिया उन्हें आवे कचिया कलियां ना तोड़ तेरी माँ ने बोले हैं मुझे दिखे से बोल. अंबर से छेड़ दे दे नाना दे चुटकी दे दे ससुराल गेंदा फूल. सास गारी दे दे देवर जी समझा ले वे ससुराल गेंदा फूल. ఎంతమంది ముందుకొచ్చి అందాలు చెల్లుతున్నాయి గుండెకే మొఫలా. ఒడన్న కాక మొన్న వచ్చి ఏ మాయ చేసావి పిల్లి ముగ్గులేసిందిలా. హొసాన విహాన వారాలే కూతు బాందాలే కానా సుతే బేషోల్ కసే గई वरते. ओ लोग छुपना जाओ जी मन जीद करावो जी रे क्यों तरसावे हो मन सकल दिखावो जी. मार हिवड़ में जागी ठोकनी रे चन्ना में थारी चांदनी मन दामन में बांधी खुशी रे. झूम 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 पा झूम मड़ के ना देखो दिल भरो दिल भरो मड़ के ना देखो दिल भरो. जो मुझे के ना देखो दिल भरो दिल भरो मड़ के ना देखो दिल भरो. कुन फाया कुन फाया कुन फाया कुन फाया कुन फाया कुन फाया कुन. लोंग दल शिकारा ओ बेबी तेरा जान से प्यारा ओ बेबी अभी चमका दिल साडा कि दिख गया प्यार ये पटियालवी. नवराई माझी लाडाची ग आवड हिला चंद्राची ग. नवराई माझी नवसाची ग अप्सरा जशी इंद्राची ग ग ग ग. बुंबरो बुंबरो श्याम रंग बुंबरो 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 श्याम रंग बुंबरो. आए हो किस बगिया से मिठी मिठी बोल रस गानों विच गोल बजने दे ताशे ढोल मस्ती में तू भी डोल. आ सोनी तेनू चांद की मैं चूड़ी पहरावा. जो गड़ा तारा चबीला तारा रंगीला तारा रंग फेर जुए तारी बात रे. जो गड़ा तारा होय चबीला तारा होय रंगीला तारा रंग फेर जुए तारी बात रे.
So this next song is one we've been performing for a long time. We like to think of it as a masala classic. It's off our 2011 album Panoramic. It's Viva la Vida Jashne Bahara.
used to rule the world. Seas would rise when I gave the word. Now in the morning I sleep alone. Sweep the streets I used to own. Jum 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 jarum jum jarum jum 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 jarum jum jarum jum 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 jarum jum jarum jum 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 jarum jum jarum. I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes. Listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, all of the king. 1 minute I held the keys. Next the walls that close on me, and I discovered that my castle stands upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. कहने को जश्न बहारा है, इश्क ये देख कह रहा है. कहने को जश्न बहारा है, इश्क ये देख कह रहा है. फूल सी खुशबू खफा खफा है गुलशन में. छिपा है कोई रंज फिजा की चिलमन में. सारे सहमे नजारे हैं, सोए सोए वक्त के धारे हैं. और दिल में कोई कोई सी बातें हैं. ओ कहने को जश्न बहारा है, इश्क ये देख कह रहा है. कहने को जश्न बहारा है, इश्क ये देख कह रहा है. फूल सी खुशबू खफा खफा है गुलशन में. छिपा है कोई रंज फिजा की चिलमन में. I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. And for some reason I can't explain, I love St. Peter will call my name. Never an honest world, and that was when I ruled the world. Dum 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 da dum dum da dum 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 da dum dum da dum dum jum da dum jum. Whoa whoa. Missionaries in a foreign field. And for some reason I can't explain, I love St. Peter would call my name. Never an honest world, and that was when I ruled the world.
So, Hrithik Roshan, Kanye West and Joe Jonas walk into a bar, and this is what happens.
One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh no, see you walking around like it's a funeral. Not so serious, go by those feet cold. We just getting started, don't you tiptoe, tiptoe. We start with the masterpiece, we start with the masterpiece. You should be rolling me, you should be rolling me. Ah, you real life fancy, you real life fancy. But you move so carefully, we start them dangerously. I'm going by the plan, sexy crazy without. The truth about to go crazy, crazy. Hi, keep on hoping we cake by the ocean.
दो पल की जो नींद उड़ी पूरे सारे ख्वाब कर क्या करने हैं उम्रों के वादे ये जो रहते हैं रहने दे यादें दो बार नहीं एक बार सही एक रात की कर ले तू यारी सुबह तक मान के मेरी बात तू ऐसे जोर से नाची आज के घुंघरू टूट गए के घुंघरू टूट गए छोड़ के सारे शर्म और लाज तू ऐसे जोर से नाची आज के घुंघरू टूट गए के घुंघरू टूट गए.
Let's get lost tonight. You could be my big K mouse tonight. Play secretary, I'm the boss tonight. You don't give a what they all say, right? Awesome, the Christian Dior. Damn, they don't make them like this anymore. I ask cause I'm not sure. Do anybody make real anymore? Bow in the presence of greatness. Cause right now thou hast forsaken us. You should be honored by my lateness. And I would even show up to this fake. So go ahead, go nuts, just don't quit. Especially in my pastels on my big fit. Act like you can't tell who made this. New gospel, homie, take 6 and take this.
क्या करने हैं उम्रों के वादे ये जो रहते हैं रहने दे यादे दो बार नहीं एक बार सही एक रात की कर ले तू यारी सुबह तक मान के मेरी बात तू ऐसे जोर से नाची आज.
Keep on hoping, caved by the ocean.
टूट गए टूट गए टूट गए
Keep on hoping, caved by the ocean.
जीने के हैं 4 दिन ओ बाकी है बेकार दिन ओ जाए 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 एक बार जो जाए जवानी 10 बहाने करके ले गए दिल 10 बहाने करके ले गए दिल. नगाड़ा 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 बजा नगाड़ा 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 बजा ये इश्क हाय बैठे बिठाए जन्नत दिखाए हाँ ओ राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे कृष्णा हरे राम हरे राम हरे राम हरे कृष्णा हरे राम. हौले हौले से हवा लगती है हौले हौले से दवा लगती है हौले हौले से दुआ लगती है तू मेरी अधूरी प्यास प्यास तू आ गई मन को रास रास अब तो तू आजा पास पास है गुजारिश बोलना हल्के हल्के बोलना हल्के हल्के होठ से हल्के हल्के बोलना हल्के धिन तिनक दिन धिन धिनता धिन तिनक दिन धिन धिनता धड़क 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 धुआं उड़ाए रे धड़क 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 सीटी बजाए रे जाने क्यों दिल चाहता रे तू है तो I'll be alright rock and roll सोनिए डोले मन तेरे लिए rock and roll सोनिए कभी तू भी तो मेरे संग डोल बीड़ी जलाई ले जिगर से पिया जिगर माँ बड़ी आग नन्ना रे नन्ना रे नन्ना रे नाना रे नन्ना रे नन्ना रे नन्ना रे नाना रे दिल में मेरे दर्द डिस्को दर्द डिस्को दर्द डिस्को दिल में मेरे दर्द डिस्को दर्द the disco, कर दे disco. Touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me सोनिया. सोनी दे नखरे सोनी लगदे मैनू, सोनी दे नखरे सोनी लगदे. दिल दा मामला है दिल पर, होने ना जोर है इस दिल पर, खलबली है दिल के अंदर. वो मस्ते मस्त कलंदर, मस्ते 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 मस्त कलंदर, मस्ते 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 मस्त कलंदर कलंदर.
This next one is a song that's pretty special to me. It's been one of my favorite songs since I was 11 years old. This is She Will Be Loved, Oripia.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Beauty queen of only 18, she had some trouble with herself. He was always there to help her, but she always belonged to someone else. I drove for miles and miles and wound up at your door. I've had you so many times, but somehow I want more. I don't mind spending every day out on your corner in the pouring rain. Look for the girl with the broken smile. Ask her if she wants to stay.
So this next song is a personal favorite of mine from our latest album, Musafir. This one's Miss Independent, Ek Ladki Ko Dekha.
One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Who is just something about the way she moves. I can't figure it out, it's something about her. I said, who is something about kind of woman that wants you but don't need you. Hey, I can't figure it out, there's something about her. Cause she walk like a boss, talk like a boss, manicure nails just set the pedicure off. She's fly effortlessly, yeah. And she move like a boss, do what a boss do. She got me thinking about getting involved. That's the kind of girl that I need. Oh, she got her own thing. That's why I love her. Miss Independent, won't you come and spend a little time? She got her own thing. That's why I love her. Miss Independent, ooh, the way you shine. Miss Independent, yeah, 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 yeah.
तेरे ख्यालों में बीते ये रातें, दिल मेरा मांगे एक ही दुआ। तू सामने हो और करूँ मैं बातें, लम्हा रहे यूं ठहरा हुआ। पहले तो कभी यूं मुझको ना ऐसा कुछ हुआ। दीवानी लहरों को जैसे साहिल मिला। एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा, एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा। ओ मेरे सोनिया वे छड़ सारी गलियां में, नाल तेरे तुर चले आ मैं। ले चल मुझको दुनिया से तू दूर, चोरी चोरी जद तेनू तकिया मैं, खुद को संभाल ना सकिया मैं। चढ़ गया सजना तेरा ये फितूर, रंग जानी रे मर जानी रात, कहनी जो थी कह दे वो बात।
Her favorite thing to say, don't worry, I got it. And everything she got, best believe she bought it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, that's why I love her. Oh, independent, spend a little time now. She got, that's why I love that girl. Oh, Miss Independent, that's why I love her.
This next song is one that means a lot to us. We made a music video for this a few years ago that featured ourselves growing up with our families. This one is Photograph, Ayat, and Lalishk.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Loving can hurt sometimes, but it's the only thing that I know. We keep this love in a photograph. We made these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts are never broken, and time's forever frozen still. So if you keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet, you won't ever be alone. Wait for me to come home. तुझे याद कर लिया है, तुझे याद कर लिया है, आयत की तरह कायम तू हो गई है, कायम तू हो गई है, रिवायत की तरह तुझे याद कर लिया है। मरने तलक रहेगी, मरने तलक रहेगी, तू आदत की तरह तुझे याद कर लिया है, ओ तुझे याद कर लिया है, आयत की तरह। ये काली रात जकड़ लूं, ये ठंडा चांद पकड़ लूं, दिन रात के पैरे भेद का रुख मोड़ के मैं रख दूं तुझे संग पैर लगाया ऐसा हो रहा न मैं फिर अपने जैसा। मेरा नाम इश्क, तेरा नाम इश्क, मेरा नाम इश्क, तेरा नाम इश्क, मेरा नाम इश्क, तेरा नाम इश्क, मेरा नाम, तेरा नाम, मेरा नाम इश्क, ये लाल इश्क, ये मलाल इश्क, ये ऐब इश्क, ये बैर इश्क, ये लाल इश्क, ये मलाल इश्क, ये ऐब इश्क, ये बैर इश्क, ये लाल इश्क, ये मलाल इश्क, ये ऐब इश्क, ये बैर इश्क, ये लाल इश्क, ये मलाल इश्क, ये ऐब इश्क। Wait for me to come home. ऐ वतन मेरे वतन, ऐ वतन आबाद रहे तू, आबाद वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू। ऐ वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू।
ऐ वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू।
मैं जहाँ रहूँ जहाँ में याद रहे तू।
मैं जहाँ रहूँ जहाँ में याद रहे तू।
ऐ वतन मेरे वतन।
ऐ वतन मेरे वतन। तू ही मेरी मंजिल है पहचान तुझी से। तू ही मेरी मंजिल है पहचान तुझी से। पहुँचूं मैं जहाँ भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू। पहुँचूं मैं जहाँ भी मेरी बुनियाद रहे तू। ऐ वतन वतन मेरे आबाद रहे तू। मैं जहाँ रहूँ जहाँ में याद रहे तू। ऐ वतन मेरे वतन।
ऐ वतन मेरे वतन।
तुझ पे कोई गम की आँच आने नहीं दूँ। तुझ पे कोई गम की आँच आने नहीं दूँ। कुर्बान मेरी जान तुझ पे शाद रहे तू।
कुर्बान मेरी जान तुझ पे शाद रहे तू।
ऐ वतन वतन